similarities and differences between life coaching and other fields. When Pat Williams first founded the Institute for Life Coach Training, ILCT, in 1998, then called Therapist University, the profession of coaching was in its infancy. Only half a dozen coach training schools existed. Independent of one another, Diane and I had both been executive coaches since 1989 and were expanding our practices to include life coaching. We saw that psychologically trained professionals would have unique skills to transition into coaching, and we had begun to work with a few individuals and small groups, mentoring therapists who were intrigued by this new profession of coaching. At the second ICF conference in Houston in 1996, Diane and I met for the first time and discovered our common passion and interest in teaching coaching skills to therapists, psychologists, and counselors. Given our reverence for the theoretical foundations of our training, we realized that much of coach training was borrowing theory and technique from psychology, philosophy, and organizational development. It was natural for us to join forces. I shared my vision of creating a curriculum uniquely designed to train therapists and psychologists to add coaching to their practices. After a few phone calls with other therapists who had entered the coaching profession, I invited Diane and Sherry Lowry to help write the curriculum. Part of my vision for training was that a complete curriculum would address the coach's personal development, because coaching requires that coaches live their life as fully and purposefully as possible. Sherry and Diane became excited because they had just completed about half of just such a series of articles for an online magazine called The Seamless Life, which included many ideas and skill sets for life coaching. In the fall of 1998, as Sherry and Diane were meeting to develop the content for the training manual, they were looking for text that would complement and offer outside reading for students. One week, Diane and I both received an email announcing the publication of a manual by Dave Ellis titled Life Coaching, A New Career for Helping Professionals. I immediately called Dave, told him that we noticed his manual, described the development of our curriculum, and asked if we could use his book as one of our texts. He had written the book but didn't have a clear goal in mind with how to utilize it. He was thrilled we had developed our training and invited me to a life coaching think tank at his ranch in South Dakota in March 1999. During this conversation, I learned about Dave's previous book, co-authored with Stan Lankowitz, Human Being, a Manual for Happiness, Health, Love, and Wealth, which became the supporting text resource guide for coaching from the inside out, the personal development portion of our curriculum, part 3 of this book. We now use the newer, condensed version of Dave's book called Falling Awake, Creating the Life of Your Dreams. Many ILCT students over the years have told us that this portion of the curriculum has been transformational, offering unique methodology for working with clients. This initially surprised us because helping professionals are expected to have done a great deal of inner work as part of their training. We came to realize that the inside-out topics were unique in that they are more about designing one's life, rather than cleaning up and completing old issues. With our texts chosen and ordered, Sherry, Diane, and I outlined a curriculum, wrote a very basic training manual, passed chapters back and forth, and looked for a couple of texts to accompany the manual so that the course would take the shape of a graduate program. We felt that this was important because our students were primarily doctoral level and master's level practitioners. We wanted them to bring the best of what they knew and leave behind what was specific to therapy and psychological treatment. So our curriculum, but not this book, included discussions, exercises, and specifics about what needed to be learned for coaching and what needed to be unlearned from therapeutic training and practice. Our students brought quite a bit of knowledge and experience, and they had much to leave behind as they transitioned from therapist to coach. The first class was held in February 1999. It included 20 students, several of whom went on to become ILCT faculty. We were pleasantly surprised at the students who were attracted to our training. We thought we would be getting a lot of burned-out therapists. Instead, we got the cream of the crop. We drew therapists who, for the most part, were already coach-like in their orientation. They were future-oriented, most were trained in solution-focused methods, and they were ready to work with high-functioning clients who wanted to live their lives beyond mediocrity. The first crop of students was also excited about working by phone and expanding their client base. After the class, Sherry